Good morning. Yeah, good morning. It's Wednesday, 19th of June 2024, and we're at 47:15. No, we're not. Where are we? Yeah, 47:15 north, 7 degrees 52 west. Quite a bumpy night, actually, very bumpy night last night. Winds picked up quite considerably. I can't tell you, yeah, I can only guess what it is, and looking at the forecast, it must have been something like 25 knots, maybe a little bit further, a little bit more than that. Quite big waves, lots of waves slamming into the boat. Yeah, it was still under control. You kind of feel it was barely under control, but it was still under control. Wind vane seemed to be doing okay. It did lose it at 2 o'clock in the morning. Something must have really upset it. Must have been a huge wave. Or a massive wave, and Kerrin II rode down the wave, and they just couldn't cope. So had to go out and reset it and blah blah blah. Which basically, get the boat in the right direction and pull a few strings and got it going again. Something I could have rather have in daylight rather than 2 o'clock in the morning. But yeah, otherwise, quite a lot of sleep. Woke up about on and off, but basically got up about 8 o'clock. Discovered that one of the blocks on the wind vane steering line had come away. It's tied to the push bit. A piece of string broke, so that was replaced. It's not a problem. Do have to look at chafe. I think 1 or 2 lines might be chafing a bit, so we'll keep an eye on it. Hopefully it'll be alright until I get to the Azores. I don't really want to start changing steering lines in the middle of the ocean unless it starts to calm down a little bit. A couple of exciting things today. First of all, we should reach the 1,000 miles to go mark, which would be nice. And also we should be leaving the continental shelf, which I've been told means things will smooth out a little bit. Waves will get longer. At the moment they're kind of short and gnarly and yippy and horrible. You can't really do much. Cooking is basically what comes out of a tin heated up. Actually, I did manage to do pasta and sauce yesterday in the pressure cooker, but it was hard work. So not really cooking properly. Getting a lot of reading done. That's quite nice. Otherwise, things are all right. Yeah, I mean, it's getting sleep. Weather's not other than the wind, but it's sunny weather. Could be raining. I can't really complain. So just a quick look at the chart. So we started in Plymouth on the 16th. Didn't get very far on the 17th to the 18th. So now the 19th. That's a good 120 mile. 120 mile worth of progress yesterday. That was nice. It's actually repeated, and that puts us into Terceira about Friday-ish. But what's going to happen is the winds are going to change day after tomorrow, so I'll probably be heading a bit further south to just north of West Corunna. I don't want to go further south here because there's an acceleration zone down there, and you get some quite nasty waves and winds. So I want to stay northwest of Corunna. Hopefully by then the contrary wind will have gone away, and I think they're then predicting wind from the north. I should be able to do a broad reach to Terceira. So yeah, maybe this weekend, but it all really depends. But, so far so good. God, if I could have this to the Azores, that'd be rather nice. It's quite interesting what's going on now. I've been going since, it's now what, Thursday, I've been going since Sunday. There's definitely a bit of routine coming into this. I tend to wake up about 8ish in the morning and have a cup of tea and that kind of stuff, and then the first thing you do, you sort out any breakages or course directions or anything like that that needs sorting. So you have a cup of tea, get dressed, and do all that, and have a look around. So this morning I got up and had to put the mainsail up and had to put the engine on to do a bit of charging and change the direction a bit, blah 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 blah. That's all good. And then you go and start your weather. So I download my grid charts, one for 24 hours and then one for 5 days. That takes a bit of time. I do it via the Garmin inReach, and just quite a little bit of faff to get all that to work. I've got a little computer at home that does some of that processing. It downloads the grid file. I send it an instruction to go and get a grid file. It gets the grid file and then converts it into something that can be sent by Garmin, which I then, individual small messages, it sends it to me. I then pick it up, reconstitute it all and transform it all, and then finally shove it into a grid viewer somewhere, and I get my grid file. Well, that works extremely well actually. I mean, the other thing I've got is weather facts, but there's some weird interference somewhere which I can't seem to trace. It's yeah, you can kind of see what's going on, but it's not really working. And also, they seem to change the schedule. I need to mess around with the schedule because I'm not getting the chart I thought I was getting. So I'll change that schedule around. I've also got the radio teletype from Hamburg, but that's relatively useless down here because I'm kind of out of their territory. So I'll switch that off today and change the weather facts schedule. But I did notice a tropical storm, the first one, I think first of the season, way up in Florida somewhere. Obviously that wasn't going to affect me, but that came through the weather fact transmission. So anyway, so after you've done all the weather stuff, then you communicate with home, friends. I go and buy a Garmin, which seems to be working very well. Then really in the afternoon you're kind of free, there's not much to do. Unless it's blowing a hoolie, but it isn't. So I tend to read quite a lot. So a cup of coffee, cup of tea, sit there and read most of the day, and then sort of 5ish you start thinking about dinner. And then you prepare dinner, have some dinner, and then really, come 9 o'clock at night, it's still light, but I'm actually pretty happy. This is one of these tricks you learn only through experience. I was using this cup to drink coffee and tea, which is fine because it hooks very nicely onto some of the little cubby holes next to my bunk. But when I pour coffee in it, because it's quite a thin base, it keeps falling over. But if I put the coffee pot in this blue cup here, it's actually quite stable. So a couple of times I've poured myself a cup of tea, cup of coffee, and the whole spilt into the sink. Particularly if it's rough. At least now it's a bit more stable. So one of these things you learn. Show that. I thought I'd show you the other face of the Atlantic Ocean. Very quiet indeed. After all the bumpy start from a couple of days ago, it's like a pond, well, hardly a milk pond, but very nice. Bit of swell going. It's very long. You don't really feel it. Not a huge amount of wind. I don't know what the speed is. I reckon 12, 13 knots maybe. We're doing about 3.5 knots, which is all we can expect. Wind, as you can see, the wind vane is now pointing towards if you like the front of the boat, so we're beating a bit, and the wind's turn. It was behind us, so the wind vane was pointing sort of that way, but it's now pointing that way. Front of the boat, up. Well, actually, I'll show you this way. Here we go. Not a huge sails, mainsails up. More ocean. It's not particularly blue actually. I would say it's more grey water sailing. Maybe when the sun's out it's all blue, but no, this looks distinctively grey to me. Not like the muddy, browny sort of grey you get in the East Coast, admittedly, but no, kind of greyish. And the sky is greyish. We've had some lovely weather the last couple of days, but yeah, it's about to change. There's a big low coming north of us, so I guess it'll cause us some drizzle and gooey stuff. Anyway, we'll continue south, and when the wind turns, which it should do, as we get near the coast of Spain, I should be able to start turning west again. I suspect the last few days trying to get into Azores can be tricky because it's a bit higher over the Azores. There's not a huge amount of wind coming into the Azores, and then we're going to approach it from the north as well, so the wind will be against us. So I think it's going to take us a bit of time actually getting in, not because of storms or anything, because there's not enough wind, and what there is coming from the wrong direction. But anyway, that's the forecast so far. But these things change, we'll see. It's lentil and kidney bean curry tonight. Huge amount of it. It'll keep me going for a couple of days. It's a nice simple little recipe. In the background is the Evita musical. quite like that music. Yeah, not much really to going on. I mean, this is the cabin in sort of daytime version. Mug of tea there. And then at night I kind of rearrange all that lot and get the sleeping bag out and just try to sleep. And then the front of the cabin, this is the whole of hell where just about everything else lives. Everything I don't immediately need. There's a whole box of spares there. It's all my celestial navigation there, all the bedding, what have you, clothes, and just about everything else, and food and milk and all sort of gubbins. And then under that locker is a whole pile of other stuff. Another sleeping bag and yeah, all other stuff. Guinness Zero. I think I'll have a Guinness Zero tonight. I tend not to drink when I'm sailing because alcohol and sailing don't really mix very well. But I have discovered these Guinness Zeros, and I've all got some other low alcohol beers, and it's quite nice. Just have something else from tea and coffee. Quite nice from tea and coffee. We've got jackets and tools, immediately grabbable, and a pressure cooker. So we're going to do rice in a minute. And then there's water there, there's water there, there's water there, there's leftover water there. Still got a main tank full of water. I've got tons and tons and tons of water. I've never done this before, so I didn't really know how much water to take. But I've got 200 litres, which I've been told for 12-day journey I can go and take baths if I really want to. I'm admitted I'm using, well, not even 5 litres a day, maybe 4 litres a day. So I've got plenty of food here, plenty of water, and a ridiculous amount of food. I mean, there, and then below here, chocker block full of tin cans. Yeah, it's okay. It's all right. I just had to show you the steam beast. It's the pressure cooker. It's actually a bit too big for this boat. I'm ready to get a smaller one, but it cooks pasta, it cooks rice, cooks everything else in just a few minutes. Pasta and rice, you let it steam away for 2.5 minutes like that, a bit like a possessed dragon, and then you switch it off and let it slowly release the pressure, and you actually end up with pretty perfect pasta and pretty perfect rice for only, what, 2.5 minute cooking or whatever it is to heat up a little bit of water. So it's, from a gas point of view, it's quite economical. The other advantage is the boat really rocks, it flies across the cabin, at least it keep the food inside, but I guess that pan would go. So yeah, it's quite a beast, probably a bit too big, but does the job. Ooh, scary. And there's the finished product. It's going to be rather nice, and that's the bomb that looks like a bomb's hit it. It's the downside of cooking on the boat. It's not a huge amount of room really, so you get stuff all over the place. But anyway, we can clean all that up. Fairly straightforward, won't take too long. But first, dinner and some alcohol-free beers.